Hey everyone, welcome. If you're on YouTube joining this, welcome. My name is Deborah Westbrook, and we are going to talk about continuing a journey of Mary Magdalene in the Imaginal realm. And why is this important to you? For many reasons. So I wait for people to join on Facebook, and I want to wait. So zip ahead a few minutes if you're catching on the replay, because this is somewhat about relationship too. Okay, so I'll wait for people to get on. I hope you're having a really, really good day. It is beautiful. I'm on the Central California coast, and it is gorgeous weather. We're kind of zipping into spring. It's the rains are kind of past us. You know, it doesn't usually rain here in California from maybe April or May all the way to October. So when we get the rain, I love the rain. So let me know if you can hear me. I think you can, and I'll start in a minute. It is gorgeous outside. Hi, Rita. Can you hear me? Let me know. Just give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, perfect. So let me say this. On the Central Coast of California, you know, I moved to California in 1990. We'll get started on Mary in a minute. And I always lived in the Bay Area, so I've seen it change. So moving to the Central Coast, within 2 hours, I can hit 30 beaches. You know, I mean, it's gorgeous. I can hit beaches that I observe from hilltops, mountaintops, and whatever. And when I go to the beach and when I go to the ocean, I believe nature has consciousness. So I am still and I listen. So in the coming days, I've decided the creative side of me wants to do something else, and I'm going to start posting what I hear the ocean saying, because I'm hearing phenomenal things. And for those who kind of disdain that consciousness is hooked into nature, well, then you keep going with your AI and let robotic intelligence take over your creativity, and we'll see where that gets you. But as for me, I'm going to believe that the essence of the divine mind is in everything, in nature, in animals, and in everything. So hi, Rita, Saloma, Kathleen. I'll wait a minute. I love what I'm getting ready to speak about today, because I'm realizing I'm walking through the experience of what I'm speaking. And so I'll do this for about today and 2 more weeks, and then I'm going to shift off, take a couple-week break at Easter, and then I'm going to go into intuition, and that's going to take me in a lot of different directions. What is the purpose of it? The purpose of it is to help you realize, again, I repeat this every live, that you are divinely human. And with what's coming, which is going to come in this nation and the planet, the chaos and everything that's coming, you got to anchor into your divine humanity, and you've got to listen into your intuition about where you're going to go and who are you going to follow and where is truth. So you're going to integrate into the wholeness of who you are and not listen to the fragments of the simulation that try to interject confusion and everything in you. And when we talk about intuition in a few, like maybe 4 weeks, we're going to talk about the simulation, because I believe we do live in a simulation, but I believe above the simulation is a prime reality. And that is where God is telling us to ascend. That is where Mary ascended. And she did this through the power of observation and perception. And she was the real deal. So let's get started. So I gather a lot of this information from many different sources. The book by Jean-Yves Leloup, which is on Mary Magdalene, Cynthia Bourgeault, Eyes of the Heart, and also her book on Mary Magdalene. And then I just scour the internet from valid sources that teach me and help me learn. So I'm not going to propose. I really don't like it when people do videos and they don't credit sometimes the people that they're referencing. They kind of talk like it's their idea. It's not always their idea if they're getting it. So if it's my idea, but if it's not, I'm going to tell you where I get the quotation from. So let's get started. Let's review a little bit. Let's review what Mary said, just for a few minutes. In the Gospel of Mary, it says, Mary's talking to the guys, and she says, I will now speak to you that which has not been given to you to hear. I had a vision of the teacher, and I said to him, Lord, I see you now in this vision. And he answered, you are blessed, for the sight of me does not disturb you. There where is the new lies the treasure. So where the heart is, that is where the treasure is. There is an eye in your heart that is subtle spiritual perception that many are not clicking into or flowing into because they're too busy and they're fragmenting their lives in the noise that's all around us. And so what's happening is that they're listening to the narrative of confusion, and it is all based upon a linear duality. What do I mean? It's grounded in a 3D realm, and it's only focused on the mind because the heart, for so many years, and even today, has been downplayed as not being as intelligent or energetic as the brain. And in this season, we're seeing that that is not true. The heart has an intelligence. So what Mary is saying is that you can tap into a higher realm of awareness through your heart. Maybe the mind will tell you, sit down. The mind will say, go here. The mind will start leading out. But if you only perceive with the mind, you're missing. So Mary used the heart. So let's examine a little bit and review for about 5 minutes on the heart. There is a heart connection, and it is a core concept in wisdom teaching. So the new is a property of the heart, not the mind. It's the eye of the heart. And the heart is the access point to awaken and rise. That is why the divine feminine needs to walk in union with the divine masculine. For the divine masculine all by itself will just focus on the mind. When the divine feminism is integrated into anybody, male or female, you're going to get an integration and an intuition, and synchronicities will begin to open. Listen to your heart. You can trust your heart. So the heart is an organ of spiritual perception. It discerns subtle levels and capabilities of non-physical perception. Have you ever gone into a room and you know something is up as you learn to read energy and you cannot perceive it with your mind? But with your heart, you will know that's something, because the heart is the essence of the knowing. It's the gnosis of your reality. So it is the subtlest of all, a means of perception, that which is not seen with physical reason. It is subtle. What does that mean? If you're racing around, noisy, buying into every book, conference, and you are not discerning where your heart is leading you as to what you read, as to what you think, as to videos you watch, as to people you follow, you are led by the heart, not the mind. The mind is filled with so much swirling stuff, and it is the intention of the simulation to do that. But if you focus with your heart, it will, by leading you in certain ways, you will perceive that everywhere you're being led will integrate the wholeness of who you are. Why am I doing these lives? Because it's me. I've waited for so long to slip into a mode where I'm just doing what I love. And in doing that, I'm so fulfilled, and I'm not only communicating, I am gleaning so much in the process of doing this. You can't even imagine. So the new is the eye of the heart. It's kind of, Cynthia Bourgeault says it's an intertidal zone. So, you go to a beach up at Bodega Bay, and when the tide goes out, what it does is it leaves behind the essence of some of the animals. You can go, and it's like very low tide. You can see the crabs. You can see everything in the rocks. The other day I was sitting at the beach. The tide was low. I saw a sea lion, a sea otter just going by. So that intertidal zone is the essence of the shore and the deep ocean. So this is where they refer to the imaginal realm as being. It's that intertidal zone between the divine mind and the human mind and heart. And this is the place where authentic communion takes place. We will really clarify it today in ways that you can understand. So it is the eye of the heart, the subtle imaginal realm that was accessed by Mary. She didn't access it through a prophetic conference. She didn't access it through ecstatic emotion. She surely wouldn't have accessed it sitting in a pew, being taught by a hierarchy that is talking in a linear duality. She accessed it by observation and perception. She is the only one to have been with Jesus in his life, in his death, in his burial, in his resurrection, and in his ascension. She was it. And from that movement and that flow of all that experience, there was a silence that perpetrated her heart to where she was in awe and wonder. Who could put that into words? We rely on words too much. In the coming days, we're going to be rising up into more of a symbolic language, a language of knowing, yes, Kay, by her virgin consciousness. So she approached that and she was able to see things other people couldn't see. So when she ascended into this imaginal realm, she did it through peace, not ecstatic, psychic power, jump in, shout it. No, she did it through the peace of silence. And I am convinced silence is one of the most powerful means of accessing the inner reality of our heart. So the new accesses the imaginal realm where Mary met Jesus. Why do you think the Gnostic Gospels were taken away ever since in like Constantine and all that Council of Nicaea? They were obliterated because they give us access that you will never get in a hierarchical position. Let me say that again. Religion is based on hierarchy. You will never get authenticity, creativity, and innovation through a hierarchical structure that sets itself apart in any way. So the imaginal realm bridges the created and the uncreated realms within a human being. And it is both a realm of itself, the imaginal realm, because it is part of the all, part of the field. Everything is entangled. In quantum, everything is one. We've talked about that for a year, 2, 3 years now. So it makes itself known. Listen, the imaginal realm makes itself known through imagination, but that is not fantasy. That is not trance. That is not ego-based. It is through the eye of the heart that you will enter a realm beyond words. You will enter a realm not of mind, but of heart. Let me give you an example. I go to the ocean, you know, so I was at a Sillamar. A Sillamar is in Pacific Grove. Sil knows where it is. She's from Southern California, right, Sil? So when I was sitting there, there's many local people that get in their cars and they just sit at the water. And they do their work. They bring their books. They bring their journal. That's what I do. And in the process, sometimes I just close my eyes. But I noticed a few days ago that a lot of the tourists are starting to come now because the weather's getting nicer. And what they do is they mean well, but they pull up and they jump out of their cars. They take a few pictures with their iPhone and they feel that they've arrived. Have I done that? Yes, we've all done that. That's vacation. That's not travel. Travel is merging with the essence of the reality of the location you go to. So I started watching car after car. At less than 3 minutes, they jump out, and it got me to thinking all they want to do is say they're here, but they're not really here. Well, see, when Mary accessed the imaginal realm, she had to do it through a journey, because in the gospel, which we'll talk about next week, she had to confront her shadows. She had to rise above all the laws of religion that were imparted into her life to confront the essence of who she was, to free herself into wholeness. And it is very important in this time. We don't blame anyone, forgive, whatever you want to call it, but we have to confront what is in us that is causing a separation. What is it? Rejection? Is it anxiety? Is it fear? Those are our stopping points that will keep you from accessing the imaginal realm. And it is really the narrative of religion. I don't want to be down on religion. I came from it. But what I see is there's always a consumer mentality in religion. You have to hook into something and buy into the narrative. You want to get saved, walk the line. You want to get prophesied over, stand in line. It's like, it's all this give to get to give. And it's like, this is not where Mary was in her perception. She came into the homeland of nothingness. That's what Bourgeot says. Now listen with your heart. She was in the homeland of nothingness, no thing. That in no way does that mean you lose your identity. It means you are the essence and the entanglement of that which you are entering into. And that is usually in silence. So it is both a realm in itself, the imaginal, and we access it by the imagination. So Mary was in the life of Jesus the whole time, as I just said. So through this, she integrated within observation and perception everything in her life that was needed to ascend. What does that teach us? That's why God, the divine mind, is revealing so much of reality through quantum, through various scientific observations, because we didn't get it in a place that hunkered us down into a 3D realm, hoping we can ascend. We can ascend. We are ascended. It's joining up with who you really are. It's nothing magical and mystical that is for everybody but you. So what does that teach us? We can have this because in that realm is creativity. It is innovation. As I said last week, how do you think J.R. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings? He wrote it through the imaginal realm, and so did C.S. Lewis. How do you think Carl Jung showed his archetypes? Because it was in the imaginal realm. Jesus revealed within Mary, to Mary, in Mary, through Mary, as the eternal prototype of wholeness, of oneness. So anything you're going to comprehend is going to have to appear before you and in you. It cannot be from the mind. So Mary accessed this realm of wholeness that brought her in by a silence. So I want to, before I go on and talk about the imaginal realm, I want to give you a picture, okay? Because maybe some of you are visual. So picture yourself standing in a field surrounded by a whirlwind of information. It's like there's a wind blowing and all the dust is rising up and everything is rising up that's inhibiting your vision, and you're standing still and you're in the center of you're like in the eye. And the simulation, which again we'll talk about in several weeks, is creating the narrative to keep you locked into a 3D reality. So you're in this field and you're perceiving all this. What do I listen to? Oh, there's a video. Let me be outraged by this. Let me hook into this. So you're fragmenting yourself by pulling everything based upon your mind. So, and it is contributing to the narrative of death. What do you think tech wants to do? They want to lock you down in your humanity because they believe consciousness is of the brain. Most of these people aren't spiritual, folks. Hello. So they want to lock you down in this field, and they want to direct your movement in this field with this constant swirling of information. And at some point, you have to say, this is bullshit, shut up. And you have to enter into the silence, like David says in Psalm, of standing in that field without anything to prove, nothing to lose, not even knowing why you're in the field, not even knowing what you're going to do, because before you get to that point, you have to stand there and become no thing in order to access. And that is hard for many people because they define themselves by exterior reality. So how many of us, I know several people I could name right now that have gone into no thing this year. I have gone into no thing, and I've written them and said, I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm lost, but I knew innately within myself when I was in that place, and I knew that I couldn't move out in ego. I couldn't get great topics in ego. I had to speak to this field and say, leave me alone. And I had to cause it to fall down, and that is when I rose up into the reality of a prime reality. So let's talk now about the imaginal realm and the rising into the imaginal realm. The imaginal realm penetrates the denser world in much the same way as the fragrance of perfume penetrates an entire room. You smell it, you can't necessarily see it, but you know the essence is there, you know the life is there. It has changed the energy of the room, and you know that in your heart you discern it. We want to understand this through words and a linear trajectory, okay? Just let it go for a minute. And we're so born to leave our creativity behind and to want to follow a trajectory of step 1 to step 2 to step 3. That no longer has credence in this world. It is standing at the field, and when the silence comes, it's knowing to go left when everything tells you to go right. It's knowing to read this book or look at this YouTube video, or follow this path, or meet this person. And it only reveals itself to you in moments of time where you are following along the journey. It is subtle. It's not going to force you to follow it. It's going to beckon to you like the perfume in a room. You just walk in and you know. So listen to what it said. I don't have the reference for this, but this is what I found online. The Imaginal nudges us, beckons us, corrects us as we stray from our authentic unfolding, rewards us with dazzling glimpses and reassurances of that other intensity to which we truly belong, and in whose light the meaning of our earthly journey will be ultimately revealed like the treasure buried in the field. This is why when Mary was in the imaginal realm, there were no words. She was in silence. It is a knowing. Words can make things more confusing. So now, what is the imaginal realm? Let's look at it a little further. There is this guy called Valentin Tomberg, and he talks about a continuum of energy intimately entangled within our heart, not our mind. We know that, right? We've been exploring that for years now. There is an energy resonance that resonates with the potential of the quantum field to access through our imagination, through rising, a greater reality of creativity and innovation that we then, with our mind, will flow into in our life. What's the alternative? We sit and do nothing but watch TV all day. Do you know how much they're trying, the proverbial they, are trying to kill creativity on every level, because creativity is the essence of a human being. So this is what this gentleman says. Modern science has shown us matter is condensed energy. Fact. So sooner or later, modern science will realize that what we call energy, listen, is condensed psychic force. What does that mean? This discovery that realizing that matter is condensed energy, that it is also condensed psychic force, is pure and simple consciousness. It is spirit. It is the field. It is psychic force, refers to the subtle energies which science does not yet know how to measure. What are those energies? Love, empathy, compassion, innovation, creativity, because those are energies of the heart. That is the only way to connect with the imaginal realm, first and foremost, through the heart. But science wants to connect us. They go so far, and they can't take it any further because they see anything metaphysical as woo-woo and not having credence. But thank God, not everything is like that. That is why heart math rose up, to show about the beauty and the elegance of the heart. So science wants to measure everything. That's why they're looking for the theory of everything. But love can't be measured. How can Mary's entrance into the imaginal realm be measured? How can she even explain it? There is a point where you alone will experience what only you alone will know, and you may not even have the words to describe it. But the manifestation of your creativity from it will just astound you and everyone else. Why is that? Because you will be flowing in your authentic self, and you don't have to have a course to show how you arrived there. You will just create. You will create a life. You will innovate. And this is what will change the planet. So the energies of attention, the energies of will, prayer, love, it is the transmission of these energies that furnish the supreme business of the imaginal realm. It's not linear thought. It's not success. It's not how much money you have. It's not what type of government you're under. It's not how much tech you use. You access this, which is so contrary to what is going on in the world right now, which is the divine feminine of intuition and synchronicity. And that is where you find yourself in awe and wonder without words. And even in the Gospel of Mary, it says she was brought to silence. This is a sphere that is not less real, but more real than our so-called objective reality, and whose generative energy changes, listen, the course of events in the world. When people rise, When people create, when people acknowledge that they're being divinely human, they will use the F word quite frequently to any measure of control that is exerted on them to attain a lower status, because somehow being a human being is flawed. That is a lie. It is a lie. It is a lie. You have yet to discover who you really are. So then it says that the imaginal realm has long been associated with the world of dreams, prophecy, oracles. To attuned hearts, it does indeed appear to send messages. As an objectively verifiable realm interpenetrating our earth plane and operating at a twice higher frequency of spiritual intensity and coherence, it is a life within a life that is then manifested by everything I just said that was not in my notes. It is a life that is manifested without the need to proclaim that we're manifesting. The transition point in our journey, I believe, has been that we've posted a lot on Facebook that I'm authentic, I'm real, I'm this, I'm that. And that is good to get us to the next sphere. What's the next sphere? Not saying anything, not proving anything, just manifesting and creating. And I'm right there, just manifesting and creating. And let those who resonate pick up on it. And those who don't, find someone else who they do resonate with. Yeah, Kathleen, the noosphere is called the heart of the planet. So, and the imaginal realm, listen, is the place from which saints, teachers, masters, and all manner of abler souls reach out across the apparent divide between the worlds to support, or where necessary, modify earthly outcomes in tandem with willing and attuned hearts. Why do you think technology wants to implant you with everything it wants to implant you with? Because then you will no longer attune to a higher reality. You will live in a virtual reality where they will control everything you can see, feel, hear, and touch. God help our young generation, because they are being attuned to this. They are being programmed in this. They are in such a way that God help them break out and enjoy the organic reality of their humanity. So now here's something from the Evolving Wisdom blog. What we wish to manifest in our life, we first must imagine. How can that be if we are deluged with a virtual reality, a narrative of fear and lack that hinders and obliterates creativity on all fronts? Through imagination, you enter the realm of the source level of creativity that is itself yearning to be recognized. It calls out to you as much as you call out to it. I am that I am is the cohesion of the oneness within you as you. Listen, I am that I am has no explanation of what you do, what you create. It is the essence of coherence within the field, within the divine mind that has no need of explaining itself. You just know. And from that point of knowing, your life will be extraordinarily brilliant, and you won't fall for the lies. So this realm shows you there's much more to you. You have more antenna to receive the genius and the brilliance and the powers of the field. We use imagination as a portal to this field. When was the last time, and I came from religion, okay? So when was the last time you were in any service where somebody preached and said, hello, what are you thinking after I said that? Are you seeing anything? Are you imagining anything? No. It's a narrative that is perpetuated to influence you and form your reality when maybe your reality is so much greater than that. That's why I left. So imagination is transcendent when the universe begins to operate through us. We become Imaginal. We exist in the quantum field of consciousness. We are no longer caught in habits that perpetuate just a 3D reality. We're given the blueprint. We're given the guidance. We're given the forms and the patterns of what we only imagined. There is so much breadth and width and depth. Perhaps this is what it really means to live, move, and have your being in Christ consciousness. To live, move, and have your being in the quantum field. To live, move, and have that oneness which will never be understood by the mind, which will only be experienced in the heart, to access a realm that will just burst you open in light, which we talked about a month ago. So right now, your intention exists as a possibility in the mind, but it's not yet a probability in the heart. And both together accesses the field where the field is not possibility. The quantum field, the divine mind, nothing possible exists there. It is potential. You are blueprinted. You are templated. You are one in the divine mind. You don't need possibility, because if you go up there and it's just possible, that's bullshit. That's not the divine mind. The divine mind is the coherence of the essence of who you are. You cannot fail when you access higher dimensions of yourself, because that is who you really are. So what you do is then you have to increase your access to this probability. And the way you do that is to imagine that what you desire so dramatically that it overrides all your feelings of doubt and despair. And here's a perfect example. I have struggled this past year with all these thoughts swirling around me, but believe it or not, when I went into times of meditation or silence, I didn't know what I really wanted. Well, how can that be, Deborah? You seem to have it all together. Well, no. No. What happened was I realized that I was standing in the now, but I was interjecting thoughts from the past and possibilities in the future that inhibited me from engaging in what I really wanted. What do you want, Deborah? You can't set an intention that's nebulous. You have to set an intention, and then you have to believe that that intention is in coherence with your heart, not your ego. And so then I had to really, and the first thing I said was this: God, it's impossible to live in California, but I love it. I can't live without the ocean. You have connected me to the ocean and the mountains, and yet I see it as an impossibility. And I look to my past and everything I walked through, and I thought, oh, I can't get back there. I looked to the future and said, holy crap, I'm not a millionaire or billionaire like these tech guys that live an hour from me. What do I do? And it was inhibiting my now until I finally realized I was setting an intention, and now I had to believe it. And I did begin to believe it. I love it here. You will never know. When I've tried to move away, when I lived in North Carolina, which was a beautiful state, I lived there for 2 years. It was beautiful, but it wasn't me. I was not grounded in that energy. When I lived in Texas, or I even lived overseas in Abu Dhabi, and when I lived in Finland, when I would go all the time to Kenya for 8 years, I loved it. I was grounded there to give, but it was not a place that I was grounded to live forever. Here is where I'm grounded. And it is here that I access, now that I've set the intention, I access the potential of the imaginal realm to see now, how do I create here? What do I do here in addition to what I'm doing? So now to start, imagine it. This happens on 4 levels, and I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but let me just tell you the 4 levels on accessing the imaginal realm. Breathe, Deborah. They are physical and sensory, physiological, mythic, symbolic, and spiritual. So you work diligently to develop your internal sensory system for each of the levels. Imagine them frequently and imagine them vividly. And this opens a portal of the mind for the imaginal realm where potential exists. And you look and you catch the news and you catch the coherence of the universe that is waiting to help you to enter into your larger life. So what are the 4 levels of the imaginal realm? The first level is the physical sensory level. Why do I go to the ocean? I love the smell of the fresh air. I love to close my ears and hear the ocean's waves. Sometimes they're quiet. Sometimes they're loud. Sometimes they're ferocious, and sometimes they're mild. So I connect with the physical sensory realm in real time. It's my inner taste, my touch, my smell, my sight, my hearing. Why do you think wine tasters, they smell wine? They taste a little bit because they want to get the overall impression. Why is it when you see art that you just want to take it in visually with your eyes and you don't move from that position? Because it isn't just the facade of the art. You want to go into the color and the depth and the reality. So the first thing you have to do is connect to your senses. That's very, very important. You want to see a sunrise. You want to hear the pounding of the waves on the beach. You want to go into the forest and hear the birds. And so what are they trying to do? How in the F can a virtual reality substitute this? The essence of the connection of your divine humanity with your senses. How can it even come close to that? After you connect with this, you're then connecting on the physiological level. What does this mean? There's a shift in your identity. It's not ego bound. It's not identifying with the ego of yourself, but bringing in many parts of yourself that accompany your true identity that maybe you didn't know you had. This revolves healing. You live a life in rejection and suddenly you know that you're brilliant. You never thought of painting and suddenly you paint and you're brilliantly in art and music. Maybe you're called to write, but you have to come out of the identity on what the world measures success by. And you have to move into another realm by seeking to know this is who I am, contrary to what anybody tells you. And that may involve healing in your heart. There's also the mythic and symbolic level. Consider yourself in connecting with the imaginal realm to be on the road of adventure and discovery to bring this intention into your life. You are larger than your ordinary self and accept the helpers there to assist you. Who are the helpers? Animals, nature, angel, people, the divine mind, people that connect with you outside of this 3D reality in the field. There is access to, what do you think? Oh God, what do you think the great cloud of witnesses is, people? It's people that have crossed over and people that have still something to say into this planet. However you define them, it is a love energy that is going to help you. You are not alone. You are not alone. So these are in abundance, and these provide guidance and open pathways to new possibility. Now, I'm going to say this. There's a lot of channelers on YouTube. I don't like a lot of them because it seems like they're still channeling from a 3D reality. It's just my opinion. What does it matter? It's just what I think. But when you listen to someone who's really channeling outside of themselves to a higher realm, you know that what they're speaking is truth. Well, what do you think you do when you're in the spirit? You're channeling an entity, the essence, the divine mind. Everything that was labeled demonic is access to us to increase our awareness and to rise in our consciousness. So at this mythic symbolic level, we connect. Can an animal tell you something? You better believe it. Can the ocean speak? You better believe it. Can consciousness speak? Can people speak? There's all kinds of ways to get the information that you need. And then one of the last levels is the spiritual level. And this is the realm of the all, the realm of the field, the divine mind, God, spiritual reality. In this level, you feel a drenching that cleanses your entire being. That is what Mary faced in oneness. The regrets and sorrows of your life seem to be washed away, and your mind is clear and luminous. Everything is contained in this realm as you are contained in oneness in this realm. You have entered the reality of the maker, of the divine mind, and the great creative force at the center of it all. Why do you think that people that have maybe near-death experiences, and I'm not talking about reincarnation, I'm talking about a near-death experience where they encounter a reality, and most of them say it is just unexplainable. It is the reality of love, because folks, we're getting beyond words and we're getting into the realm of discovering our essence that will manifest in creative power. So how do I end this? They're going to talk about part 3 next week. So to enter the imaginal realm, this is what I found. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. This is obvious to many of you. Imagine the reality you want to manifest. It should be something to do with your authenticity. What does your intention taste like, smell like, feel like, look like, sound like? Do not let rejection or fear or childhood trauma keep you from doing this. And if it is, then get healed, because you're stopping your access into this realm of reality. Just accept that God will bring to you what God wants to bring to you, in you, and through you. So travel now to the place of quantum possibilities where you can choose the patterns for your life. See them, feel them, and above, know them as potential realities that can manifest into space-time, which is the 3D world in which we live. Do this until you feel the living force of their reality. Know that the quantum field is drawn into your vision and is adding elements, synchronicities, resources, appropriate people, ideas, and opportunities to help in the realization of your new life story. Are you seeing them? Or are you so bogged down in your victimhood? Or are you so bogged down in trauma? Or are you so bogged down in what someone said to you 10 years ago? Well, then you're fitting the narrative. You are a prime member of the simulation, because then your God becomes the church, government, culture, religion, technology, rather than the essence of the God nature within you, as you, and through you. So when you practice this, and it will continue to grow to the point where what began as an imaginative possibility becomes an actualizing probability. And as opportunities come your way and begin to fit into the new story you have set into motion, meet them with gratitude. Why do I do this? Because I've walked what I'm speaking. There was so much regret in my life of missed opportunities that I had to not put guilt on myself, that I still faced a wide open field. Well, I believe many of us that are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, we're at that place of having to discover it is a new world. It is a new day. And what we learned before is not relevant right now to what we're going through. We need to rewrite the script. There is a new curtain call going out. And guess what? You're the only one on the stage, and people in the audience are just clapping you on, because nobody wants to see anything but you. The only people that don't want to see you are just as egoic and they want to cultivate an atmosphere of ego. But when authenticity presents itself, it just lights up the room. It's an increase of light. So I want you to see yourself as standing on a stage, and it's a curtain call, and you're being asked to go out on the stage. Well, everybody will see you. They will see what you wear. They will see your insecurities. They will see your doubts. They will see everything that's in your heart. You will be exposed for the vulnerability and the authenticity of who you are. And you will stand out there without pretense, without having to prove anything. And you will just go, even if you have to go and your heart is pounding, and you will go stand on that stage. And suddenly the audience to which you're reaching, there will be people that will stand up and say, bravo, because we don't want to see what you think you can be or what the world says you can be. We want to see the real you. And I personally am so bored with pretense and ego and influencers, and I just want authenticity. And I want to see the real people, and I don't want to betray their trust when they tell me the realness of who they are. I want to accept who they are and keep it in my heart, knowing I don't know the path that got them there, but I accept the fact that where they stand right now, they are exceptionally brilliant. Thank you for listening. I thank you. I love this about my life. Find that place. Listen to this again if you have to take notes. And we'll continue this next week. And the week after, we're going to talk about quantum Mary Magdalene. And then we're going to go take 2 weeks off. Easter will come. And then I'm going to go into intuition, and I'm going to get real creative. And I want to just say this too, because we're entangled together. Lisa Brown did another incredible Facebook Live on the celestial architect on astrology, and she's going into the basics. She did it this morning, so you can either go to her page. Thank you for listening, Kay, Lisa, Seal, Saloma, Kathleen, all of you that listened. Thank you. We're all in this together. You have an incredible weekend. Love you, love you, love you.